Hey good people, welcome to another episode of This Brother Can Fly. Now, I'm about to go on my second flight lesson and I'm definitely excited. So we're getting ready to go. You ready? But before we go, you know the deal. I want to do a subscriber shout out, but I'm actually going to do two. One, subscriber shout out to my hometown homeboy, Alvin Smith. Hey brother Al, thank you for, showing the brother some love, and your boys, I appreciate you guys definitely subscribing to the channel and watching me along this way. This is all about us doing things that people think we shouldn't be doing, so do it anyway, all right? And another subscriber shout out to my newest subscriber, Cool Kim 21. Cool Kim 21, thank you for subscribing to the channel. All right, let's get it on and pop it. Okay, so I'm back here at school, ready for my second flight lesson. Now, for each flight lesson, what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a goal for myself to try to actually learn like some part or aspect of flying or something about the plane. So my goal for this flight is to learn about the trim wheel. And I'll explain more about like what that is after the flight. Well, I'll do it now. Like, so when you trim the plane, it basically kind of takes pressure off of the yoke. So it's almost like you set the wheel and then that way you don't have to work as hard. So I wasn't exactly sure what was going on with the trim wheel before, but this time I'm gonna try to get it, like actually figure out like how it's actually working. All right, so enough of this. Let's go fly.
I would just start with the cockpit checklist.
Okay. So this is control lock.
Yep. So just
remove.
You got it. You can just put it down in here or whatever.
All right, and then master switch.
So I say on. Yep.
Yeah, master switch on. All right, starting engine. Mixture rich.
So mixture's right here. Push the button and push it all the way in.
Okay. Carburetor heat is off.
So carb heat's right here. In is off.
Okay. Master switch on. Prime as required.
Primer's over there. Let's give it like a shot. You got to turn it so that the notch comes out. Pull it all the way out. Wait. And push it all the way in. That's good. So warm start, since it'll just run in, temp start, prime one to do strokes. So we're good. Throttle is going to be open 1/4 inch. So make sure it's all the way out.
Okay.
Just 1/4 inch, real little bit.
Okay. Propeller area.
So just open your window and you'll clear.
Clear prop.
Good. Make sure you're looking around too.
Okay.
And you're good. Looks
right.
clear. Then you can start her up. So your black key. Left hand on the ignition, right hand on the throttle. After it starts up, you're going to bring it to 1,000 RPM.
Okay.
Make sure you're holding the brakes.
Yep. Okay, unfortunately, I made a huge rookie mistake. When I was putting the whole GoPro and stuff together, I didn't realize that I had pulled the cord out of the GoPro camera. So that's why at the beginning you actually hear me talking in the cockpit. So I am so sorry that I have kind of messed this up. And you won't hear the stuff through the headsets today. And that really sucks because, there was a lot of good stuff that was going on. So I thought I would just add this narration. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm going over the checklist and I'm kind of looking through the field. One of the things that I really love about my instructor is he's very patient with me. I had a really hard time trying to incorporate a lot of different things. So right now, what we're doing is we're getting ready for takeoff. We were doing the controls. We were trying to figure out. He's trying to tell me where to look around, where to look for, and all that kind of stuff. And right here, I'm like extremely nervous because I know I am getting ready to take off. And I'll just let this go for now so you can hear one of the mistakes I make. Listen to the engine. So if you didn't notice, it was kind of like this. I was really too gentle on the throttle when I was taking off because I was trying to do so many things. The sun was in my eyes. I'm trying to figure out, okay, which rudder is the right rudder pedal so that I can keep the plane going down the middle of the runway. And I was just completely overwhelmed. So the throttle, when you're in a small plane like this Cessna 172, it's kind of like, think about, pushing in a plunger or something like that. Just like this little stick that you push towards the dashboard. And unfortunately, I just was just too tentative with pushing the throttle in. So that's why you kind of hear it, do these, different pitches, and so I wasn't going full throttle when I was first going down the runway. So unfortunately, you didn't get a chance to hear my instructor basically say, are you going full throttle? And basically the answer to that question was no, because I hadn't pushed it all in. So we've now taken off and we're just doing different flights. We're doing different things in the airplane, different turns, and I'll just kind of let some of this play out so you can see the turns, and then as things come up, I'll narrate. I'm sorry you have to listen to me just talk. I will promise to get this fixed next flight. Alright, so what's interesting is you start to see me start to do turns. See, if you look out the right window and the sun go by, look out the right window. You'll see the ground a little bit more than in the left window. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing a right turn. And the thing that's like really crazy about turning in an airplane like this is that, so you turn in degrees, like 5, 10, 15, 30 degrees or whatever. And one of the things that I found that was interesting is that this time, on this flight, when I was turning, it felt like my turns were too subtle, as opposed to last time when I flew. 10 degrees of a turn felt like the plane was sideways and I was freaking out. This time, it felt like I wasn't turning hard enough, and so my instructor was like, not too hard, not too hard. We don't usually try to go beyond 30 degrees of bank. So turning this time was weird because I didn't feel as nervous turning, but I definitely don't have a feel for how steep I should turn. So I was looking at the instruments a lot more to try to get a feel for that. One of the things about flying that I'm realizing is there's a lot of feel to it. The whole throttle position, rudder pedals, hand on the wheel, activating the ailerons. You see I'm doing another right turn here again. There's a lot of feel to flying, and I just have to get used to the feel. All right, let some more of this play out. Now, one of the things you're going to see my instructor do is he's going to start pointing at different things. one of the things that he's showing me is like as we're looking to the left here is trying to discern landmarks so that the more we fly, because I mean basically once you take your flying training, one of the things that I've been figuring out is the pattern is going to be pretty much the same in terms of how we take off. I guess unless the winds are different, we'll probably take off in a different direction, but typically we'll be taking off in the same direction and flying the same pattern. So what he's trying to teach me in this second flight is looking for landmarks so I'll know what to look for when he wants me to turn certain places or where I'm positioned, things like that. And this was actually very helpful because I was able to have a feel for where I was. It's weird when you're up in the plane, you look down at the ground. I mean, it just looks like scraps of paper flown, strewn all over the ground. And so it was really hard for me to discern landmarks. But one of the things that is kind of interesting about where we fly is there's a nuclear power plant. And so there's these two huge cooling towers that we can actually use as a landmark. And I thought, oh, that's great. Let's use a nuclear power plant as a landmark. But it actually does help pretty much very well. So just doing turns again, and just flying, and he's explaining my pitch angle, engine speed, and I was definitely engine RPM, I was doing a lot better there. I still don't understand altitude, and I still wasn't able to discern some of these like turn angles and things like that. So I still got to work on that, and that was very stressful because I just couldn't understand what he was saying. But Kyle's great, and that's actually the name of my instructor. So all right, let's let some video play. So right now I'm actually doing a turn to the left, and the thing that's crazy, and I know I keep saying what's interesting, what's crazy, I mean it's all interesting, but I seem to really not like turning to the left as much as I like turning to the right. I mean, I don't know what it is. It just feels like the plane is doing more, and as you can see, I'm making this left turn. See how the sun is going up the right side of the plane? So that's one of the things that you'll notice about this flight. You'll see the sun do different things. It'll come up, it'll go down, and a lot of that is based on pitch angle and that kind of thing, but definitely turning. But as I was saying, turning to the left, I don't know. I don't like it. It just feels, I feel more vulnerable. The plane feels less stable as opposed to turning to the right. And I don't know. It's just a feel thing. I think it's just me tripping. Okay, so here comes another right turn, and watch. I mean, I just seem like I just do so much better. I'm looking to my right. I feel good about it. The sun goes up the back of my bald head. I just feel much more coordinated when I turn to the right. And I don't know if that's just because of the natural physical forces, of the engine and just the way the plane maneuvers when you're turning right versus left. But I definitely feel different. Again, we're just looking at another landmark. So as we were flying, and we flew for an hour, he was able to point out a lot of different landmarks. But I will say that this was when I was kind of having a little bit of fun, because there were a couple things. I had a couple of aha moments during this flight, and again, a lot of it had to do with the fact that I was feeling a little bit more comfortable just flying and moving around, and I definitely felt like I was knocking my right turns out the park. It was just trying to hold level flight using the trim button. Like I said, I was trying to really focus on that, and turning to the right just sucked. actually, I just realized that in that last video clip, or that last voiceover that I did, I said turning to the right sucks. Actually, turning to the right is great. It's turning to the left that sucks. But at any rate, the thing that I like about my instructor and Kyle, now I can't tell you, how much I appreciate him. And one of the things that you want to think about, when you're, taking your flight lessons and your instructor, it's a comfort level. How comfortable do you feel with, how they talk? Are they measured? Do they make you feel comfortable? I mean, because listen, this is a very nerve-wracking undertaking. Plus, you're pretty close to the person for a lot of time. So the one thing that I really appreciated by Kyle is that, I definitely know, oh, here comes that left turn. See, I don't even look. See, I don't want to even look out the plane. I just want to look at him. I'm like literally staring at the turn instrument. I don't know what it's called yet. And I need to get my ground school. But when I'm turning to the left, I hate looking to the left. I feel like I'm just gonna fall out the plane or something. So I just don't know what it is. And a lot of that has to do with the fact too that I really need to learn good rudder work. And maybe with more right rudder, maybe the turn will feel more coordinated going to the left. I don't know. If you're any of you pilots out there, if you're watching this, leave a comment. Let me know if there's something that's different turning right versus left, and as it relates to rudder work. That'd be great. But at any rate, hats off to Kyle. He was making me feel very comfortable, and he was letting me do a lot of work here. I mean, if you see it, you can see his hand is basically on top of the dashboard, and his other hand was in his lap. And he was letting me like literally fly this plane. And I was really scared because the first lesson he did a whole lot of heavy lifting for me. But this time he really let me have at it. And so he made me feel comfortable as I was doing this. Okay, now I don't know if you noticed, just before I started talking, the engine kind of like slowed down. So it's kind of like a So one of the things that he was really trying to help me do is we were ascending and descending. And there's this interesting interplay between yoke, which is, what you use to steer, or controls the ailerons. Looks like a steering wheel to most lay people, and it still looks like that to me. But the yoke, there's this kind of up, you push forward to go down, you pull back to go up. But there's also some engine play in terms of ascending and descending. And so it's an interesting combination between the two. Well, what you were hearing was the engine slow down because one of the things that Kyle was trying to help me to feel is this, mix between going from 3,000 feet down to 2,500 feet and really trying to get a good mix between throttle and yoke. And that was, difficult, but that's why you heard the engine kind of turn there. So what's happening now is we are actually descending towards landing, and I'm trying to land this plane and completely freaking out. Now, one of the things you're going to see is you're going to see the runway. Here it comes. We're too high, and we have to bail out. So this is the first time I actually tried to land the plane. And I was trying to coordinate, I was trying to do all this kind of stuff, and he's trying to tell me different things, and I froze. So we had to do something called a go around, which means you're coming down towards the runway, and you're too high or something doesn't feel right or whatever. Well, you basically just take the throttle to full power and just fly on out. So that's what we did. And so I really wish you would have heard this exchange between us two, because he's like, Russ, yeah, come on, Russ. And I basically was just nowhere to be found mentally. I just kind of got overwhelmed. And again, hats off to him. He basically said, okay, we're going to do a go around. And he said full throttle. I was able to kind of process that. And we went full throttle and we just, flew out of there. So now we're basically coming in for a second try. And you can see, if you look out the right window, you can see the trees getting closer, the buildings getting closer, we're coming down, and we're in a much better position this time. Now I'm trying to figure out, okay, my full flaps, and are we going slow enough? And again, we're a lot better. Here comes the runway, and touchdown. So now we're basically turning back to the hangar, and not the hangar. Gosh, it's the only thing about narrating this, but we just landed. We did we taxied down the runway. You can see the guy out the front window there, kind of to the left, and we're done. And it was a great flight. So the rest of it you should be able to hear. Thank you for, listening to this video and watching it and listening to all this madness.
Off. And you can turn the key and the master off. Turn the key off, pull it out. Master off. And we'll do the rest of it once we get out here.
Okay. So I just finished flight lesson number 2. Oh, it was an absolute blast. But man, am I exhausted. Woo, it took it out of me. My first flight lesson was probably about half an hour. This flight lesson was a straight up hour. And I'm telling you, once we got that plane on the ground, I was so happy to be done. Woo! But I'm so excited. I am still so happy to be, part of this journey and on this path to become a licensed pilot. I can't tell you, I can't wait. So at any rate, thank you for all the people who have subscribed. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to the channel. I thank you for all the support. So all I gotta say is this brother can fly, signing off. Peace.